Are you satisfied with your understanding of sustainability? If you are not, imagine a journey together, a pluralistic one, with academia, innovators, startups, NGOs, all looking for solutions to the greatest challenge of our time. My name is Samuele Tini, and this is the Sustainability Journey. Welcome to another episode. Today we are going to explore the world of sustainability in an industry that sometimes is not very familiar with the name. So we have discussed about cosmetic, we have discussed about regenerative agriculture, we have discussed about finance, and we are going in the world of spirits. And we do it with somebody that has been at the forefront of sustainability and the B Corp movement in the spirit industry, especially in the agave-based one. And I'm very pleased to have today Elise Som, who is the co-founder of Altos Planos and the Chief Sustainability Officer there. Elise, I'm so pleased to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Samuele, for having me. It's a pleasure speaking with you on sustainability. Out of all topics, my favorite topic.
Thank you so much, Elise. And Elise, before we go into the world of sustainability and spirits, and you talk us what are you doing in Mexico and the work you are doing with Altos Planos, I want to ask our question to our guest. Who is Elise? What is your sustainability journey?
Okay, so my sustainability journey, I've always been very, very close to nature, but everything for me started, realized that as a mom, I had the duty to create, a better world and create an offering better things for our children and for the next generations. So I was working in the design and recycling design, and I realized that actually we don't have enough companies that are doing reduce, reuse, recycle work, basically. And I realized that we're actually consuming more and more, polluting more and more, and which leaves, the planet in very difficult conditions for the next generations. I always talk about how we don't inherit the land from our ancestors. We are borrowing it from our children. And that is a quote that stuck with me for the longest. And for me, it was just evident that we had to do sustainable work, that all companies actually had to create better sustainable practices. So I decided to go to school. I went to Harvard for my master's in sustainability and learn from the best and, apply this model, this sustainable model of creating a brand from the ground up to make it, as transparent as possible, as clean as possible, and efficient as possible, and as sustainable as possible.
Fantastic, Elise. Yes. That is really a journey that is common with many of our guests. So everybody has his eureka moments, and especially realizing also the future generation and the need also to leave the land and what we have inherited from our fathers or our mothers to them. It's a really important turning point. And from there, I think you have now co-founded, a very successful business that is Altos Plano, no? And I want to ask this because usually also the listener, they might be wondering, hey, the connection, spirit, sustainability, maybe is not that obvious. So, but Altos Planos is really trying to work and to change, that. Can you tell about the history, which are the effort, what drives the difference at your company?
Of course. So as you said earlier, the spirits industry is not yet so connected with sustainability. And that is a shame because, there are so many brands out there that, are not doing the right thing just yet. And we at Altos Planos wanted to make sure that we create a brand from a blank canvas, if I may say, and our company was created 4 years ago. And when you're able to choose your suppliers, your partners, and create a liquid. So we do tequila. Our most successful brand is called Mi Gente Tequila. And we wanted to create, the most amazing liquid without cutting any corners. So Altos Planos created Mi Gente Tequila. Mi Gente Tequila is only 3 ingredients in the liquid. So it's very, very clean. It's cooked agave, water, and yeast. And that's how you will have the purest quality, the best tequila in the world, really have this non-additive. I don't want to use the word label because there's a lot of controversy lately, but, it's really, really clean. And then we've created a brand where everything is created locally. Mm-hmm. How we made, the liquid is made by a maestra tequilera, so it's a woman in the world of men, which is really important for us. So from the labels that we apply on a bottle is made from agave waste paper. So, the agave is actually the plant that we use to create the tequila, and the leaves is what we use to create the label. And then the bottle is made from recycled glass. Everything is made in Mexico, from the liquid to the label to the bottle to the packaging. I mean, we always wanted 100% local. I think the priority for us was to work with the local community. And then from there, it was a little bit of a journey to work with local community, because they teaching us and we teaching them different practices. And I think being sustainable is, it's almost like a dance to see like, how are we going to create this product? How is it going to work the local community? And for us, creating a tequila that we want to export. Right now, 90% of our business is in the US. So, we wanted to make sure that it's done well and that we are giving back to the community. So it's not, when people talk about spirits and sustainability, a lot of people don't connect that we actually do a lot of effort to produce everything in Mexico. Like a lot of distributors or producers are importing bottles from China or Europe, for example. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to work 100% with Mexico. So bottle manufacturer is based 20 miles away from our distillery. So again, CO2 reduction to the max. As much as we could, and then benefiting the people where we're getting the agave from is very important.
And this is my subsequent question a bit, because let me jump immediately to that part for maybe discussing your B Corp and the work, because collaboration, transparency in every single, especially also me, I'm involved in value chains, are essential for sustainability, are essential to create a sustainable and fair and just, especially value chain. So how is Alto Plano work with the, as you mentioned, local community, the farmers that I suppose cultivate the agave, and the suppliers that you say, to build sustainable and local value chains?
We always prioritize working locally. We always wanted to make sure that we also, which is part of B Corp, work with minorities within the community, choosing, for example, in our company, with women, single moms, applying labels by hand into our bottles. Just because we wanted to make sure that the women that are part of the land where we create the tequila are also working. Whereas on the field, it's mostly men that are cutting the agave. So there we can, prioritize the community, all community, not just men or women, but like the men on the field and the women at the distillery, where, we can also make them financially independent. And it was very important for us to make sure that everyone within the community has a role to play to create a product with maximum power to the community.
And how do you source the agave? Do you have farmers? Do you grow it?
Yes, of course. We actually work with a few farmers within the region of Jalisco. So tequila, in order for a liquid to be called a tequila, it has to be produced in the region of Jalisco. And you have like 5 other different states that are authorized to produce the agave. But the agave itself, we get it from generations of farmers that we like to work with. So a few of them we've been working for the last 4 years, as our company started 4 years ago. And we have a really healthy relationship with them where, we want to make sure that they give us the purest agave possible. And what they do is they use manure, for example, for fertilizers into their field. And it's very important that we create this relationship so they can produce for us the best agave.
Yes, yeah. Because that is the most important.
Relationship is at the top of our priority.
And it's the most important thing if you work with them and then you have a good relationship with farmers, this is exactly how you shape a proper value chain. And one of the, let's say, great objective that you have achieved just in 4 years, which is not a very long time company, you have already achieved the B Corp certification 2 years ago. So can you talk a bit why you decided to be a B Corp? Because it's not immediate. And then the other one is what also the process entailed, why it was significant for you, and then we can go a bit in the changes that you had to do for that.
Yes, of course. Being B Corp was for us from the start. Again, my background is in sustainability. So from the start, to be able to have this type of certification is almost like showing that you're able to walk the talk. that you are doing the right thing, that you are committed towards the planet, towards the people. So, highest level of environmental work and social work. And, being B Corp was very important from the beginning. And being able to implement sustainable practices from the beginning helped us in our journey to create a sustainable company. So I want to say that we're also very proud of being the first Mexican American company to have the certification as a spirit company, because it's not evident, as you know, to obtain the certification, and it's not evident for a spirits company as well. It's proof that we're doing the right thing with the land, the right thing with the people, the right thing with our consumers as well. And I encourage a lot of other companies to obtain this certification and walk in our footpath.
It's very interesting, and something that I see is a mark, a walk the talk, is somebody that is signaling, your sustainability effort. And I want to ask, has the certification, now that is 2 years, changed some practices within the company, gave you some advantages, in the market? So has been some recognition, has opened you some doors. So which are also the advantages of being B Corp certified?
Let me start with the advantages. Plenty in many countries. Funnily enough, being sustainable, it's great, but having the certification of being B Corp, it's like passing the board of being, greenwashing. You hear a lot of companies talking about, how sustainable they are, but having the certification is a proof, living proof. So I guess the same day that we obtained the certification, we were on a phone call with the buyers for Whole Foods. I don't know if you know the Whole Food Markets company, and they signed a purchase order to buy Mi Gente Tequila for their 120 stores, which is really impressive, just because of obtaining the certification and proving that your B Corp allowed small little tequila company to be sold at Whole Foods. That B certified label has a lot of power.
Wow, it's really a great advantage, and it's really just from the day go. And then, which other advantage we have seen along the years? Some doors, and also let me ask, where do you sell your tequila? You are going worldwide or just mainly in the US for now?
So we're about in 20 countries right now. Yes, of course, 90% of our business is in the US. Tequila is growing very fast in the US, but also in the UK, where I live, in Italy, we're starting a smaller community. You're seeing people being more inclined to drink tequila, because tequila, it's changing. It's not so much, the frat boys that are doing shot glasses. It's much more elegant and sophisticated of a product that you can drink and you can sip on. And it's a very, it's a very clean drink if you drink an additive-free tequila, which I mentioned earlier. But yes, it's open for us, like so many doors, especially in stores like Whole Foods. But at the same time, a lot of people are looking for that B Corp certified label, and it has helped us with bigger chains like Total Wine, for example, in the US is very big. Companies and a lot of spirits, and it was a great foot at the door for us to show that we're the sustainable liquid, the liquid that's doing right by doing good. And having the B Corp logo on all of our packaging is super helpful.
So, even bigger companies now, they are approaching you, and really you are expanding the market. And it's really important, as you say, because tequila in a way, and it's very connected with Mexico. It has a strong connection with the nature, the one you are working, the agave, the work of the farmer, the culture, as you mentioned, the way you drink, and then the drinking culture, which is changing also, and the tradition, especially in Mexico. So how this value, they shape your sustainability strategy and the brand also identity of, because I read that you have the Magenta Tequila, and now, if I'm not wrong, you have also another brand, Tres Tribus. If I'm not wrong, that is another line that you are starting.
Yes, absolutely. It's another agave spirits that is made a little differently and from a different region of Mexico. So the tequila is made in Jalisco, which is in the west part of Mexico, and tequila is made from blue Weber agave, and mezcal is made from other type of agave, and in a different region. And we're just relaunching the brand right now. It's different taste, but still just as clean and very popular right now, the mezcal.
Fantastic. And then, if I can ask you, which are the challenges that you see in the spirit industry when it comes to sustainability? And which steps, also from your experience, maybe some companies they can do to address them?
I think the biggest challenge for most of us is to not to cut any corner, is to be patient. And I guess the question works also for many different industries, not just for the spirits industry, of not, not overproduce, not produce in mass. We create per year like different batches, and we produce like many times, a couple times per year, but we don't overproduce. A lot of people in the spirits industry have been overproducing. Yeah, it's just doing extra work where,
Yeah,
if
yeah, overconsumption
you have to be
that also.
patient. Absolutely, and not being patient. And some of the other producers have been importing a lot of other products, like glass, for example, from the US, from China, from Europe, because it takes a longer time to produce in Mexico. And I want to say to a lot of other producers that if we were a little more patient, we can all run a sustainable business, but also have space for everyone to play and everyone to grow. Yeah, what I'm seeing now is like a lot of companies are just producing, and that creates another huge problem, which is the issue with monoculture, of creating this blue weber agave constantly is not healthy for the land, because the land needs to be resting a bit, and it needs to be we need to create like some crop rotations with the farmers. With Altos Planos, in our company, we work hand in hand with the family that provide us most of our agave, I want to say, and we're helping them with replanting native trees that is within the region, and that is helping with soil health and keeping nutrients within the soil. In general, we just have to be more patient with nature.
Definitely. And it's really important, as you say, putting purpose also ahead of profit, because of course, if you get the shortcuts, maybe you get cheaper, but of course, in the long run, you wouldn't have good products and products which can be a win-win for the farmers, for the land, and also for the company. And it's really
Absolutely.
tricky, because that is the debate. No, also why B Corp is pushing towards the benefit corporation, the stakeholder approach, which is also changing, the narrative that is still dominant about profit fast, and the only is maximizing return, but is also to looking holistically at all the work. And and then discussing a bit, looking from
Absolutely.
you are in the UK, you have a Asian background and heritage, and then you are a Mexican by adoption, and then also now you are in the US working mainly in the market. So you cut across geographies and work. You are in the B Corp movement and in the more broader sustainability movement. So which emerging trend do you see? And then that really, do you see that they are coming up? How we can also try to address them as companies, of course.
What I see emerging right now is I don't know, Samuele, if you've heard lately of the carbon credit being not so trustworthy.
Yeah, a lot
And
of
I
debate,
see
discussion.
a lot of debates, a lot of discussions, and a lot of people talking about carbon credits. And I I am getting really excited about what we call biodiversity credit or biocultural credit, because as opposed to calculating for carbon emission, yes, of course, company has to know exactly what you emit, but as opposed to calculating carbon emission, I think biodiversity credit as a whole is like, when, for example, I'll give you an example. We're currently working with the Region Network in purchasing the first biodiversity credit in Ecuador, where we are helping a community, an indigenous community in Ecuador called the Charamensa, to protect the forest and to protect the inhabitat of a jaguar. And that is helping to work against deforestation. That is helping also basically is providing the company funds for them to manage themselves, the forest. The modern company, an oil and gas company, don't go through from, Quito all the way to Peru.
Mm.
It's a really wonderful program because, I want to stress that the sustainability world work fast. Climate change
Mm.
is real and we need to adopt fast.
Mm.
So, we are currently carbon neutral.
Yeah.
We invest into companies that are also doing the right thing,
Yeah.
and we also now decided that we also wanted to do biodiversity credits because, we want to help climate as a whole, not
Yeah.
just for carbon emission or carbon credit. So that is something that I get really excited about,
Yeah.
that I see being developed.
Mm. No.
So there's plenty of solution of like how the companies are responsible to help the planet. Companies are responsible to, as much as you produce, you need to give back and give back to environmental causes. Whether it's reforestation or forest conservation or water management, or there's plenty of activities. And unfortunately, a lot of people have been challenged with carbon credits, but there are plenty of other solutions, and that is exciting.
Yeah, and it's really a debate that sometimes what we called in some other episode the carbon obsession or something. So just looking at that small part, but as you say, biodiversity credit, working with the community holistically, and as you say, working on the habitats, working on biodiversity, working on the livelihood. It's really a way, to have win-win situation that are not just carbon focused, but more holistic, and it's really important. And the last question for you, it will be like, for our listeners, usually we ask this so that are passionate like you about sustainability. They want to pivot, maybe they want to make more sustainable and conscious choices. Which advice Elise would give them?
Elise would tell them to start small, start with what you can do at home, start with, climate change is such a big topic and all of us want to do so much. But I think that when you start with a small topic and you focus deep into, I use the SDGs, for example, and if you target deep into helping your community with, I'm going to give an example, like recycling within your own community or ending hunger somewhere else. Like I think you have to, in order to do this substantial change, you have to start small and go deep. Don't try to do too many things at the same time, and prioritize quality over quantity. And of course, I want to say, like, reduce, reuse, recycle, consume as less as possible, and look for the B Corp logo whenever you can.
Fantastic. And it's really an important part, even in your spirits, even maybe in your festive season or others, then you are sure that also what you drink is something with B Corp. I also, I think, apart from that, of course, make sustainable choices and read the labels and be advised. It's a very good way. And also with the podcast, we're trying to educate, to showcase that change is possible, and there are plenty of change makers like you that are making strides towards a more sustainable world and more sustainable businesses. Elise, it's been a pleasure having you at the podcast, at the sustainability journey, and thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. It's been a pleasure and honor.
Thank you so much, Samuele. It was nice talking to you.
Are you satisfied after this wonderful episode? Let's continue together our sustainability journey.